Okay. I'm coming on with another message about it's time to survive. I mean, get ready to survive. Because our systems are crashing. We can clearly see that there's all kinds of stuff going on. We can clearly see that our everything is being manipulated. Um, and the thing is I took a look at I don't know how to do this without giving myself away. Um, I was looking at supposed license plate readers, and those cameras that are supposedly everywhere. I noticed that when I looked, this is where I live. I noticed that they were in strategic spots, like so they're on this road, and that's an artery going out. I noticed that they're on this road and another artery going out. I noticed that they're on 29 road, which another artery going out. They are on Little Park Road, so another artery going out. These are not license plate readers. They may say that they are. They're actually surveilling you, and they are trying to control who goes in and out. And anyone they deem as a risk to them, they will go after. They're going to track you down with these cameras. They'll probably also have surveillance drones in the air. But my biggest takeaway is cities are not going to be safe. Cities are going to be, unless you're in a very small city in the middle of nowhere. I do know that this area is, well, if it survives, will be under heavy surveillance. However, what God has showed me is different. So, I strongly encourage you to look at the places around you and make more than one plan to get out. Try to figure out where to go and what to do. However, there's going to be a lot of what ifs, because I've seen a lot of things in my conscience and I don't know what happens first. And so what I mean by this is I've seen earthquakes coming from over there in California, that all the other prophets have said when they rip open, it's going to cause, and I've seen this, it's going to cause a tsunami, and the tsunami, I believe, will travel down this valley. As you can see, all this is mountains on this side, and then you have the Colorado Monument on this side. Because I had a dream. There's a place over here, it's off the map, called Glade Park, and I had a dream where I went through the community. I believe it was in to a aerial shot of the valley, and there was a camper that was hurt there, and you can clearly see that it was a scenic vista, and that area that is above Glade Park is about 8,000 feet, and I saw water coming in. So the water level, from what I have gathered, is over 8,000 feet. In other words, all of this valley is under 8,000 feet. The Little Book Cliffs are, I'm not sure, I think like 7,000, maybe 6,000 to 7,000. This is also a wild horse area. And I've also been shown, this is Grand Mesa over here, and I have seen a dream out of here, and then there's a little town called Coldbrand. In Coldbrand, I worked in an educational building, and one thing that I saw was the ground cracking open, and you could see like fissures, basically like lava fissures, and they were really superheated. And God showed me that this was a volcano that would come alive, because I've seen 2 or 3 dreams on it, which included the dream that I just said. And Grand Mesa is a volcanic, it used to be a volcano, and I don't know quite what happened, because they're claiming that a rift happened, and that's where you got all the volcano ash and that type of thing. Um, so if all of these happen at once, um, then this whole area will be inundated with water and will not survive. And another thing, what I've also seen is I have, like, in my conscience, seen certain individuals who are in my neighborhood, and I think I've seen their future, and I've seen a number of them, because I live somewhere in here near the water, and um, even if I wasn't near the water, um, I have seen these individuals, and they were barely above water, and I can tell that the water was washing them away. And I've seen this for a few individuals, and so yeah. What I'm trying to tell you is there's things coming. So if these scenarios happen, the Grand Valley is destroyed. So the only way, so this is on survival. So in order to survive this, if all of these disasters hit, if you feel a earthquake, and it's the best thing to do is try to get to higher ground. But if the earthquake that I have seen happens, it's going to be level, because what I saw is, like, if that were like a mountain, like if there was a house, what I saw is the ground just like it looked like a BOMB going off underground, and you can just see the ground, and you could just see, like, it looked like someone was tunneling underground, and you could just see that the ground was just falling. And I've had many earthquake dreams where if this were the side of the mountain, like, you could see it falling in on the roadway. I've had one where I was with my dog, and we were traveling along, and the slope was here, and I was trying to lift him up. But so yeah, it's going to get crazy, and many people are going to perish. So if you live through this, what you may see is completely different. And if these scenarios hit, you may or may not have a vehicle to get out. You may be on foot. That's why having a bike, or if you live in a place where there's a river, however, elites are stealing the water and using them for we don't know yet their plan, but they have taken all of the water, and what they're trying to do is to control the water rights, so that if you want to live, hey, you have to buy our water. And according to prophets, what they have seen in the future is people drinking blood and turning into cannibals, because there isn't any water. God gets rid of the water. So is the water being done by the elites or by God, or both? That is a possibility. But so you will need to. So my idea. So in order to find a good place to survive, so these are qualities that you'll need, and it will have to be, if it's out west, it will have to be high enough to where you're out of, and you may be hit by the water. And if you somehow survive, if you find a floating tree or a boat and just somehow manage to survive a massive amount of water flowing in, and I don't know how long it'll take for it to flow all back out, because it will have to flow back out. It's just a matter of how long will it take. Sorry, my allergies have gone ballistic. But the thing is can you move? You may have to be on the move. You may have to make one site, and then if drones, or because you will have, during this time, they will send out drones, they will send out demons, they will sniff out or send out, giants that they're hiding underground. You will also have fallen angels and these type of people that will be able to guide them to whatever. So yeah, I think the inevitable thing for all of us is going to be martyred. But in order to find a good place to survive, so you would want a place with water, with resources that you could use. You will have to think of food resources. Is there fish and game? Are there deer? Are there rabbits? Is there foraging potential? Um, can all of this stuff be preserved? Um, in the wintertime, is it livable? Are there shelters and stuff that are livable? So if I were to look here, I mean, I can see that there are springs and stuff, and I don't know if you know how to read a map, but generally speaking, all of this, if you can see that there are mountains and that type of thing, and sometimes they have numbers on them. Sorry, my nose has really lost it today. But so these are all mountains, and with the earthquakes and stuff, they may be completely transformed. But you'll need places where potentially you have water. So there's so blue is normally water. So this is the Colorado River going here, with I-70 going right beside it. But yes, mountains can be traversed, but you'll need a place where you can see out. You'll need a place where it is known for foraging. And in Colorado, your foraging potential is at higher elevations. Pinyon have pine cones and nuts in the pine cones. And they are about 5,000 feet up, and can go to, was it 6,000? And then you start having oaks at about 6,000, and then you start having about 7 to 8,000. You'll have chokecherry. Sorry, I'm dealing with allergies. But yes, so the higher elevations are going to be your best bet. However, in the wintertime, they get slammed with snow. So it may be one of those where you have multiple sites, like until the water recedes, which we don't know when that happens. You may have to be at a higher elevation, and I don't know how long, like I said, how long that takes to go back. And this is also a wild horse area, so there are wild horses, so that potentially is food. I don't know how many wild horses I've been to here and then gone in right through here, and I have seen groups of like 3 or 4 horses in here. And I've actually, and there was a dream that I had that the horses were running like mad, so they were, I don't know where. There are several wild horse areas out here, but you may have to have a higher elevation site for quite a while, and then a lower elevation site in the wintertime. But you got to think of preserving animals. You got to think of ways of looking out. You got to figure out how to deal with snow. What things can you use as shelters? Are there shelters already there? And I would strongly recommend that you go out beforehand and take a look at potential areas. I mean, if the Grand Mesa weren't a volcano, I mean, that may be a strategic area to have a higher elevation place. Or maybe Vega Lake, which is way up here, it's about here, which potentially could be a good place. However, if this is a volcano, all of this is going to be gone. And if the water comes in, all of this will be gone. So, like I said, a lot of people are not going to make it. But you'll need resources to make clothing, to make pottery, to make basketry, to ropes, food for, I mean, not food, wood for fires, herbs and rocks to make shelters, or providing like tools and that type of thing. If you don't have tools, you'll have to make tools out of rocks. And they've done that in the olden times, where they would smash the rock in order to make sorry, my allergies are really horrible tonight. but they would do that, and they would smash the rock in order to get a sharp point on them. Um, but and it's and at this point it's about planning, because we don't know when this is going to happen, and I think it's going to be one of those days where everything's going along like it should. And just like in the days of Noah, they didn't have, well, yeah, they had a week warning, but when that warning hit, they had several days of darkness and a massive earthquake, and they still didn't turn from their wicked ways. Um, so, but you will, and if you have livestock, you will need places for livestock and how to care for livestock. But and transportation is going to be probably by foot. If you have horses, that may be an option. And wild horses, oh, it's like, oh, well, I can tame a wild horse. It takes a while to break in a wild horse, and you catching a wild horse is not likely. They can run 20 to 30 miles an hour for quite some time, and they're very hard to catch. So I would not rely on that. There are, as most people know, out west, there are places on BLM and forestry land where they have cows. So using cows is a potential option. But yeah, Highline Lake will be probably destroyed. That's also is only like 4,000 or 5,000 feet. So yeah, if that water hits, I don't think it's if. That's the problem. It's like I don't know the order. Like, I've seen volcanoes, I've seen earthquakes. In my conscience, I've seen different countries that are mega, taking, basically coming into our nation and wiping us out. If you've ever seen Red Dawn, it's when I don't know how to describe them. It's with, I think, what, Patrick Swayze and the that northern country that is right off of the Alaskan coast, starts with an R, invades here. And I've actually seen 2 dreams with regards to bears. That is their representative. They're considered the Bear Nation. And Scripture also points to that. I think it's what, Daniel 9, where it talks about the bear as being, was it one of the animals? And it talks about a leopard, and I think these are the 4 kingdoms. And then it talks about a beast with iron jaws, iron jaws and claws, I think. But yeah, so, and I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm just trying to get you to realize that there's some really bad stuff coming. And right before that country invades, there is a E magnetic P. So E, it, look at the first letter of the so M. And but I have seen a dream where I was going down a dark road, and then there was these farm equipment that looked like they were like shorting, that had all these sparks and stuff, and I was taken to an area where cops were letting only certain people in, and these cops were actually, God revealed to me that they were actually angels, so the angels are going to be guarding, but God is going to, I believe, take some individuals and put them in certain spots so they can be helped to lead and to guide other individuals. And I saw that in one of my dreams. But I would use this time to collect all kinds of supplies, and do not make it known to anyone around you. Keep it quiet, because the less that your neighbors and everyone else know that you have, the better. And I would not rely on your car, because you do not know if this earthquake hits, and like if you live here and you try to get across the Colorado River, um, you're not going to be able to cross it because it's going to be running too fast. And so you got to take in mind different scenarios. And if it's a P, if that hits, that means that your phone doesn't work. That means computers don't work, and that means you'll have to rely on things like this. I would highly recommend having at least a basic map to figure out where you're going. This is a gazetteer of Colorado, and it breaks down into grids, different parts of the Colorado. So you look it up by the number. The number responds to the page, and then you open it up, and this will help you. This will help you big time. This is definitely a must-have, and I would have a compass to get from A to B, and I would have a go bag, and I would have matches are a good idea. A Zippo lighter is a good idea. Basic first aid is a good idea. And so yeah, you're a coat that may double as a rain jacket. But yeah, you're going to need items and different things. But the one thing that you absolutely need to have is God. You will not get through this, and those people that are not gods will be taken out. And this may be happening out west, what I showed. And there's a number of volcanoes that are also planning on going off. Like one is Yellowstone. Someone said that Mount Hood could be possibly go off. And if there's an earthquake, just think of all those magma pockets that will come to the surface. If a massive earthquake happens, all those fissures will potentially have magma coming out of them. So, and then if you think you're on, safe because you're on the East Coast, what I have seen on the East Coast, if this were Puerto Rico, I've seen a prophet where an asteroid hit off of the coast of Puerto Rico, and those waves that hit the East Coast and went all the way into about the Appalachian Mountains. And I have seen many dreams in cloud formations that looked like walls of water, and I have videos on these, and it's going to wipe out. And there was a certain someone who I've had a consciousness view of her, which is my mom, and I've also seen a dream of her where she was trying to cross a river with me in the vehicle, and then somehow I managed to be airlifted out of there, like by angel or some supernatural way. But we were trying to cross a river that looked like the Colorado whitewater that's so like out of control, and we knew that there was a highway under the water, so we tried to go across. And the next view I had was I was trying to go up into a motel and into a tree with my dog, and she was taken away. And that is based in Florida. So, and there are several prophets that have warned about the East Coast, saying that there's a massive tsunami. And I don't mean 100 or 200, 300 feet. I'm talking 1 mile or 2 mile high wall of water. That's why it goes in so far. And one prophet, and I don't know if they were accurate, they said even in Asheville, which is like 6 hours away from the North Carolina coast, it's 6 hours inland, 5 or 6 hours, and they still had the wall of water way above their head. Like even in their perspective, the wall of water was like up there. So yeah. But you need to start thinking how to survive. Where can you go? And what resources will you need? You need a way of potentially hunting and gathering food. You need a way of making fire. You need a way of keeping safe. You need a way of carrying it all. And yeah, it's you potentially could be in a situation where you lose everything except what's on your back. That could be a situation that you have. That is a very, that's why being prepared at all times is a very good thing. Like having a go pack in your car at all times is potentially a good idea. And I believe it may hit in the middle of the day when this happens. It's going to catch everyone off guard, and it's meant to. And it is scripture relevant if you look in Matthew 24 and Luke 21, as well as Luke 17. Luke 17 talks about the days of Noah. But having this is extremely important. And also having a Bible is also incredibly important, because the Bible will be outlawed. You will not be able to have the Word of God. It will be seen as going against the government. Like right now, I mean, you're seeing it. You're seeing multiple countries that are cracking down on all kinds of people going to their houses. Even our northern neighbor of where I am, I've seen videos lately where they criticized certain things, and next thing they know, they were being arrested. There was someone in the T state that's in central. It's a big central state who showed some water that was highly contaminated, and she was arrested on misdemeanor or felony charges, was the last I heard, which is ridiculous. They are trying to control the narrative and making the good guys appear bad. They're trying to say that, oh well, we're the ones causing all the issue, when it's all, historically speaking, it's always been them creating the issue and then blaming us for whatever, and dumping all of the what we're supposed to do on us, when it's actually them that's caused it to begin with. Like all the health issues, we now know that they are created in labs. They are created by certain pokey things that go in your body. We know that certain groups of individuals have been controlling the narrative and whatever, and they don't want you to believe that. They want you to believe, oh well, this is normal, and you need to believe what we say. And many people are going to fall for the mark of the beast. Many people are going to go, well, I'm not fighting. I mean, or you may be fighting for your life and starving in on that, like in the wilderness, living around a city and starving to death, and you may be forced into giving up. If you give up and take the mark of the beast, you're going straight to the very hot place that God created. So I'm trying to get you to realize this stuff is coming right now. There's potential shortages. I mean, I'm seeing the Colorado River the lowest it's ever been. We're seeing water resources completely disappearing because of certain centers. We're seeing gas prices and food going through the roof, like the Bible said. We're seeing the anti-C coming out, and so yeah, we're there. And I've seen many dreams. When will they pop off? I don't know. But this is a warning to get your butt in gear, and get certain things, and realize that volcanoes are happening in the future. WAR, earthquakes, tsunamis, so yeah, and we've been warning, and you need to get right with God. That is your number one priority. If you're not right with God, and you need to also ask, it's like, God, am I right with you? And go from that point. So thank you for joining me. God bless you all.